Hello there, Boyle Glover. Most of you know me if you've come to this channel. And if you don't, I guess you will. I don't do many of these. Been resisting. God's been trying to tell me how to do these, and I think it's the Lord. And I keep resisting, but this one I had to do. I really am bothered by this Charlie Kirk thing. I just was uneasy, and I could be off base about what I'm about to share with you. I don't think so, but I'm going to give you my thoughts. We'll kick this can around and see where it goes. So here, I'm going to start with a rhetorical question. Have you ever watched a giant illusionist show? Most of you have, I'm sure. I know I've seen several, and they're awesome. I mean, these guys make things disappear and make things happen that are just incredible. I mean, making locomotives disappear, making whales disappear. I remember I used to watch this street magician, I can't remember his name, David Blaine, I think his name. Incredible guy. I mean, walk around doing these magic tricks, some of which, I got to be honest with you, was I watching black magic? Sometimes I think we've actually seen black magic. Let me read something to you. You know that is something that exists. I know some of you might not. So here we go. I'm going to read Exodus 7, beginning of verse 10. And Moses and Aaron went in unto Pharaoh, and they did so as the Lord had commanded. And for those of you who might not know, this is Moses and his brother Aaron coming before the king of Egypt, the Pharaoh, and demanding that the Pharaoh let the people go, let the people of Israel go. They've been prisoners there. They've been in the land around 400 years, and God is going to rescue them. And I think most of us are familiar with the story. I won't rehearse that. So beginning of verse 10, and Moses and Aaron went in unto Pharaoh, and they did so as the Lord had commanded. And Aaron cast down his rod before Pharaoh and before his servants, and it became a serpent. Then Pharaoh also called the wise men and the sorcerers, now the magicians of Egypt. They also did in like manner with their enchantments, for they cast down every man his rod, and they became serpents, but Aaron's rod swallowed up their rods. So think about that for a minute. How did these magicians of Egypt know that Moses and Aaron were going to do this, turn that rod into a snake? I mean, I can see them the night before, the morning, and saying, okay, they're going to do this. All right, how do we conjure up this image, or how do we make it ours into a snake? I don't think it worked that way. I don't think they knew what was coming. I could be wrong. So how did they do that? Because they didn't have time to prepare an illusion, did they? So I guess what I'm trying to suggest to you is, look, folks, there is such a thing as black magic. All right, it's real. It is a real thing. And I sometimes wonder if a lot of what we see in the magic world today isn't black magic. I think this, I'm going to just say it flat out, I think that the Charlie Kirk thing is a giant illusion, a magic show. and I'm going to argue my case a little bit here. I could be all wrong. And there's one fact that could kind of prove it all wrong, I think. You know, every lawyer, when he goes to trial, is careful to get all the facts and know all the facts. And if there's a fact that you don't know, might be the one fact that's critical to your case. I once lost a case because there was one fact that I did not know. I didn't know it existed. And my client revealed that fact in trial. And we lost the case. I knew as soon as he opened his mouth that we'd lost the case. And I asked him, so why didn't you tell me this? Well, I didn't think it was real important. Anyway, one fact could diminish my case here, what I'm thinking. And I'll get into that later. So I'm convinced that we're looking at a giant deception. And here's what started me off. So you've got a shooter allegedly up here on a roof, and you've got Charlie down here, a lower elevation, and he is hit here, and his movement is to the left, like that. And somehow I just can't get that movement to match that trajectory. Does that make sense? So I'm wondering if we're not looking at a little sleight of hand here. Remember the guy, first of all, every illusion has to have deflection in it. You've got to have somebody that distracts. So all the illusionists have other players, other people that help them. And one of the things they do is to distract. That's why you have these scantily clad gals on stage, because a lot of people, particularly the men, are paying attention to them and not what he's doing. So I think that there were some players, some participants in the audience who were distractors. The first being the man, the golly gee whiz, I done it, I did it. Yeah. Boy, that just was so suspicious to me. Red flags went up immediately. Who would do that? Who would do that? You know, say I did it and you didn't do it. Well, here's one person that would do it and not really have done it. A crazy person. But you know what? The guy they arrested, I mean, I looked at him, he's not a crazy person. He didn't have any of the earmarks of somebody nuts. Well, then you can say, well, it would be a radicalized Democrat. I don't think so. He doesn't quite fit that profile either. Here's what I think. I think he was a man who was compromised. Do you know what compromised people do? They do what they're told to do. Why do you think there are so many of these fruitcake judges on the benches who are making these radical decisions? You think they're all just leftists? They're all just paid-for Democrats? In some cases, they are. But I think it goes deeper than that. I think a lot of these men, these women, are compromised individuals. You know, the intelligence agencies have known of this and used this technique for decades. And, you know, it kind of works like this. You're in your office one day, you're a federal district judge, and you're sitting there and you love this comfortable office, and you've got a measure of power and you feel important, and you radiate power. You know, I've been in these offices a number of times. And all of these guys, they just exude power and authority because they have power and authority. Well, one day somebody comes into your office and sits down at your desk. He has a brown manila envelope, and he opens the envelope and says, I need to show you something. And he slides over some 8.5 by 11 photos showing you in bed with another woman or a child, or shows you doing something, or maybe a video of you doing something that you have no memory of doing. You have no idea how you could have done that, or because it violates your principles, your moral principles. You're shocked, and is that me? Is that a double? I didn't do that. I couldn't have done that. And eventually you realize you were drugged at that party you went to, or this event you went to, or whatever. And some operative somewhere slipped something into your drink, and then they did whatever they wanted to do. They set up the scene. So all that to say this, I think that golly gee whiz, I did it guy may have been one of those. I could be wrong. I'm speculating here. You know, sometimes you get at truth by doing that, by asking questions and answering. You know, it's not been unusual when I've done trial work in my early days doing federal civil rights stuff, for me to walk around my office talking out loud to myself, asking questions. Well, why did you do this? You know, pretending I'm a witness, or pretending I'm a lawyer, asking questions of the other side, and things like that. So I find myself wondering about this guy, and wondering about somebody that would do that. And that was one of the things that came to my mind. I could be wrong. So I got the trajectory, and I got the guy here. The spontaneity of it just didn't ring right. It just, it's a deviation from the normal pattern of behavior. It's like, we all have a sixth sense of things. And so I just got uneasy about it. And I think most of you, you know what I'm talking about. I mean, we've all been there, and I'm fair at it. I'm not the best. I've seen some lawyers who are just amazing. They've got a really acute ability. And it's not just lawyers. I mean, the police have a lot of that. Seasoned detectives get the sixth sense about something's not adding up. Something just, Anyway, so that whole scenario is playing out in my mind, and the flags start going up. So bottom line, I really honestly think I was watching a magic show. I think it was an illusion with a lot of players, a lot, 3, 4, maybe more. And I think we saw one of them get arrested. We'll see how that plays out. So if there is, in fact, a giant deception here, and realize Satan's biggest means or method, or weapon maybe, is deception. I mean, he's the great deceiver. That's what he did with Eve. And what did Jesus say when his disciples asked him about the end times? What did Jesus respond? His first words were, "Be not deceived." So Satan is a deceiver. So I think we might be looking here at a deception. And the guy on the roof was a patsy, as in the Trump shooting. I think that was another staged event. What if the man that confessed was in fact used to enable the real shooter to escape? And what if the gun, the actual weapon, was a part of the shooter's clothing? I mean, you can do a lot of things today, or hidden in his clothing somehow, and it could be pointed and aimed like this and directed at a target with AI. Find the image, target that point, and a soft voice command maybe. Go. I'm just speculating. If I was the police, I'd be looking for those close to the stage on a phone. Now, suppose this further. Had they found the bullet, my understanding is there was no exit wound. No exit wound from a high caliber rifle that you used to shoot deer. Was it 30 caliber? I don't remember. And no exit wound when it goes into the soft part of the neck, and you have no exit wound? What's wrong with this picture? You know what I mean? Yeah. So what if there was a weapon that had a bullet that was ice? I don't know if that's possible. I saw it on TV. So maybe it's possible, or some other material that would dissolve. It would be hard enough to penetrate, shatter, and then dissolve. What if that? Again, I'm speculating, and here's the fact that I said could ruin all my surmising here. If the police find the bullet within Charlie that matches the rifle that was found, then that kind of shoots this theory. Kind of, not totally. It destroys that theory, I think, pretty much. But something tells me I'm on target. It was put on, I think, by some seriously financed people. They've been trying to take us out, folks. Charlie Kirk was probably the leading spokesperson in America, maybe in the world, probably in the world, for changing the minds of young people. He would do these debates, and he was the most articulate in terms of having a quick response that went right to the heart of that young person's question. He was great at it, and they knew it, and they reached a point where they, you know, the I hate to call them the left, the Democrats. Let's face it, the political entity that wants to take over America, wants to run your life, regulate your life into oblivion, is the Democrat Party. Quit calling them the left. They are the radicalized left. But anyway, here's what they want. They want people that follow their ideas, strategies, but the ultimate goal is to destroy America so that they can control this country. And the way to control them, if you study, and I'm a history major, if you study communism, you'll see that what they did was foment revolt. They got the people uneasy. They got the people into a state of unrest, of I don't like this and I don't like that. And oh, by the way, we have a better system for you. Why don't you join us? And suddenly they've got this mob of people, and they're willing to do anything, even violence. They have a violent mindset. Read the wars that took place in Russia, how the communists took over. Read about Hitler in Germany, how they took over because they're just a different version of the communists. They did the same thing. They made them unhappy. They had an easier job than most do. because in Germany there was already serious economic problems and people were unhappy, so it was not a hard thing for them to do. But that's what they wanted to do here. And Charlie Kirk was one of those that was changing them, because realize these people operate right in amongst us. We've hired them. We pay them money, big money. They're in our universities. They are called professors, and on a different level, grade school teachers. And they've been radicalized. And they, for a long time, disguised it, but now they're coming out in the open more. And their goal, their mission, alter the mind of the young. From down here to up here, college level. Charlie Kirk was up here changing minds, altering their view, altering their perspective, doing a magnificent job. And those evil people, those demonically evil people, didn't like that because it ran contrary to the devil's goal. He wants to take over America. Realize America has been the best blessing, the greatest blessing on the planet. How many missionaries have we sent out? How many billions of dollars have we sent to other countries helping them? We've done a lot. Satan wants that. He wants control of that. He wants control of your life. So anyway, I'm starting to babble. I don't want to do that. Let me close with this. I want you to think about what I said and move that idea around. Hopefully there's somebody out there that'll, if the police haven't already, and I have to believe they thought about this, surely. I mean, if poor little me can come up with this idea, surely they can. They're good at this, but, you know, put the idea out there and have them start looking at it. Have them start looking at every person who was in the vicinity. I'm sure they do. But look at them as a prop and a shooter. Look at the guy that golly gee whiz, I did it. Look at him as the prop. Track his every move. Track his every contact. Track his phone. Everything you can know about this guy. He may be the one link that opens the door. And don't be surprised if he has an accident. If I was him, I'd be very worried, especially if there was any serious contacts made to him. I'd be very worried. So let me finish with this. A little PR for my book. As you know, many of you, I wrote a book on prayer. Look, folks, we're in a time, we're in a day and age where you better learn to pray like never before. We're coming into some very evil times. There's some bad things that are going to happen. There's too many bad people in America. I mean, for decades, we've let people in almost carte blanche, but in the last 8 years, we've let them in, and the ones that have come in have been terrorists. We've allowed entire sleeper cells to come into our country. They're just waiting for that call. Waiting for that call. So what's going to stop them? Prayer. God is greater than them. You're not going to stop them. I'm not. Our police can't stop them unless they stumble on their secret. But if we pray, God can cause the police, the authorities, to stumble on their plans, to expose them. So start praying about that stuff. You know, pray for confusion. Like today, I prayed a prayer in our Bible study. And one of my prayers was, Lord, these people have a lot of money. These people in our country, they're being funded. God, let them get greedy. Let them get greedy and take the money for their own. Let them steal from their employer. Send confusion. Pit them against each other. Start praying things like that. Anyway, Amazon, get my book. By the way, you might like this. It's a prayer journal. I like it. Let me show you what it does. Basically, you develop your prayer, you name it, develop your prayer, and then make an argument. Why should God answer my prayer? And then you support it with scripture. One of the things that lawyers do is when we're going to argue a case, we bring supporting statutes and cases, case law, to the court, and we say, Your Honor, our client should win because in Jones v. Smith, the court held, da-da-da-da-da-da, and that supports our case. Go to God. Lord, here's what you did, here's what you said, here's what you are. You are love, here's what you want, here is your will. Argue this is the will of God because, and find all the reasons you can support that. And this book will teach you how to do that. Have a good day. Thanks for staying awake.